slow, steady
Yes.
growth. But we don't
Yeah.
want that. That
Right.
doesn't bring donors.
No.
That doesn't
Right.
bring
Yeah.
the show. That doesn't bring eyeballs. That no one wants to see and put a camera on something grow. They want to see it fast forward,
Right. Right.
but they don't want to see it. Yet
Yeah.
God invites us to wait, and He's not going to change His tactics for our multimedia generation.
Right. Yeah. He's really slow, right? Like, you know, Paul talks about, right, our perfection that we will see, right, in heaven, right? It's not even like, oh, in the next 70 years, it's going to all be sorted, you know? So, um, waiting is really, really hard. I think, you know, even just like we've moved a lot in the last 3 years over the COVID pandemic and jobs and all of that. Um, we've been in our house here on the central coast of California for a year and we're renting and we love it. And it's like, okay, God, when are you going to help, you know, figure out our investments or give us a wealthy donor so we can actually afford to purchase a home? Um, and we just don't know. We don't know if that's even what he's going to do. Right. And it's really hard to wait. And I think, you know, for a while, I was just like, it's easy when we're in that waiting space to look around and be like, well, all these other people have X, Y, Z, or it sure seems like someone else has a lot of success in their line of work. And why don't I? Um, but that waiting really is an invitation to cast our cares and to cast ourselves on a loving God and to realize that often when we're waiting, and the hard part about the waiting periods in our lives, from something as small as a house to something much more significant in our lives, is that in those waiting periods, really what we want is control, right? We want to control the situation. We want to know, yes, our kid's going to turn out okay. When they're walking through a valley and they're walking away from God, we want the end story. And so each moment of waiting really is an invitation to cast ourselves on the control of God and to give it up ourselves. I had a friend who recently they moved overseas with their family to be missionaries, which is really exciting. And she's just said they had several months where they had left their job. They're waiting for their fundraising to finish coming in. They're waiting to get all the paperwork from the government so they can stay and move. And she says, you know, it feels, and I think this was part of their missions organization, but it feels like you're an uprooted tree with your roots kind of dangling out in the air and everything feels really, really tender. And you're waiting to kind of be planted in the next space, in the next place. And it was a potent image to take with me. I think it feels a lot like that, and to give ourselves grace to for that fragile feeling as we're midair.